leave her mind. Hold her hand and don't believe a lie. You understand.
Hello everybody and welcome back to our weekly Bible studies. This week we'll be looking at Romans chapter 4. For the past 4 weeks we've been looking at the book of Romans, breaking it down chapter by chapter, and this week we've made it to chapter 4. If you're just joining us, I would suggest going back to watch all of the other Bible studies, especially the first one, because in the first Bible study we give context to the book of Romans, and the other chapters give a background to everything that we're learning in this chapter. Alright, so without any further ado, let's get into this Bible study. Now in this chapter, Paul kind of centers on Abraham. He credits Abraham as the founder of the Jewish nation. He tells us that Abraham believed God and it was counted for him as righteousness. And later on in this chapter, we see that Abraham was accepted by God before circumcision and is the spiritual father of the circumcised and uncircumcised. From what we've seen so far in the book of Romans, there is a pattern of Paul telling the Church of Rome that you are not saved by your works or by your ethnicity or by your heritage. And in this chapter, Paul uses Abraham as an example to solidify that fact. Paul lets them know that Abraham was not counted as righteous because of his works. He was counted as righteous because of his faith. He tells the Church of Rome, and he tells us, that works give us something to boast about, while faith puts everything in and on God. There's a really beautiful part in this chapter where Paul says that when people work, they earn a wage. But because righteousness is a gift, we don't have to do anything to earn it. It's given to us as a free gift, not a wage or a salary because of what we've done or what we're supposed to do. Paul even refers to a psalm written by David that says, "Oh, what joy for those whose disobedience is forgiven, whose sin is put out of sight. Yes, what joy for those whose record the Lord has cleared of guilt, whose lives are lived in complete honesty." Now, once again, as we go further into this chapter, Paul goes back to telling the Jews that circumcision is not a guarantee of salvation. If you remember from our first Bible study, when Paul wrote this letter to the Church of Rome, there were some conflicts between the Jews and the Gentiles within the church. The Jews still held on to very rigid sacramental beliefs, and this caused a lot of conflict between the Jews and the Gentiles. So in chapter 4, we see Paul debunking the belief that circumcision is a pathway to salvation. We're told that Abraham was accepted by God before his circumcision, and him getting circumcised was an act of his faith in God. The gift of salvation does not only belong to the circumcised or the Jews, it belongs to everyone. Faith counts us as righteous, not circumcision. And even though Abraham is the founder of the Jewish nation, he's the spiritual father of the circumcised and uncircumcised alike. Through faith and salvation, the Gentiles are grafted into that family, and Abraham is the father of all who believe. Abraham was saved because he believed God would keep his promise, and we are saved because we believe that God has.